Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something pretty wild. How the chemtrail conspiracy theory suddenly became a topic for a U.S. federal agency.
Yeah, it's quite the leap. This is the idea that contrails, those white lines from planes, aren't just water vapor, but, well, chemical trails.
Right. And our goal here is to really unpack how this fringe idea moved into, actual policy discussions. We're analyzing the source material seriously.
Okay, so where did this even start? Well, the story usually points back to the 1990s. A rancher in Washington state, William Wallace,
Wallace, right.
he apparently saw this gray plane over his fields, got suspicions about chemicals being released. He even said himself it sounded like something from the X-Files.
So it starts with that kind of suspicion, almost sci-fi, and it morphs into this claim that there's a secret program deliberately spraying harmful stuff. For what? Controlling climate or people?
Both, according to the theory. And it's got some, well, prominent promoters. Russell Blaylock is a name that comes up a lot.
Ah, Blaylock. The neurosurgeon turned conspiracy theorist.
That's him. He claims carcinogenic nanoparticles are being sprayed. But here's the kicker. He also sells supplements,
Supplements, like, well,
including something called a brain repair formula. So he's pushing the fear and selling a supposed fix.
wait a minute. So he's building this narrative of, like, government poisoning and then profits from the cure. That feels like a huge red flag, a conflict of interest baked right in.
Exactly. It's something to keep in mind. Now, the theory gets specific about what's supposedly being sprayed.
Okay, what substances are we talking about?
Heavy metals are the main ones mentioned: aluminum, barium, strontium. Also, sulfuric acid precursors. They claim this is done via stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI.
SAI, can you just quickly explain what that is for folks who aren't familiar?
Sure. SAI is the idea, the concept of intentionally putting aerosols, tiny particles, way up in the stratosphere. The goal in theory would be climate control, reflecting sunlight. Geoengineering.
Okay, so it's a theoretical climate thing, but the conspiracy links this to contrails now and claims it's causing health problems.
That's the claim. They specifically link toxic aluminum, supposedly from SAI, to things like dementia, ADHD, even asthma-like illnesses. That biomedical angle is key.
Right, hitting those health fears. And this ties into that whole Make America Healthy Again, or MAHA movement, doesn't it? Treating this as a health issue.
It does. But the really shocking part is how this jumped from blogs and forums to the federal level.
This is the policy development, right, with
Right.
HHS Secretary Kennedy.
Yes. In May 2025, he went on Dr. Phil Primetime and actually promoted the theory, even suggesting DARPA, the Defense Research Agency, might be involved.
Wow, on national television.
And then, almost immediately, an internal memo surfaces. KFF got hold of it, showing plans to form a government work group to investigate climate and weather control, explicitly mentioning these kinds of concerns.
So HHS is officially looking into something scientists overwhelmingly say isn't real. What is the scientific consensus on contrails and these alleged chemicals?
It's pretty clear-cut. The EPA, atmosphere scientists, they all say there's just no evidence linking contrails to widespread health issues or secret spraying programs with these metals. Contrails are mostly ice crystals.
So the scientific community must have reacted strongly to the HHS memo. What did people like David Keith say? He's a geophysics expert, right?
He called the memo shocking, said it was completely detached from reality, basically absurd garbage information fueled by social media. Strong words.
Yeah, no kidding. And Daniel Swain, the climate scientist.
He was similarly alarmed, called it nonsensical, pointing out that officials were treating claims that are, frankly, often physically impossible as if they were factual.
Okay, so if the science is so firmly against it, why does a government investigation, even one perhaps meant to debunk it, end up giving the theory legs?
Well, this brings us to the critical thinking aspect. A folklorist, Timothy Tangerlini, has studied this. His point is, when people lose trust in mainstream sources like scientists or government agencies, they look to their own groups, online communities, whatever.
Right, peer groups.
Exactly. And when the government then says, okay, we'll investigate this thing, even if the intent is to disprove it, it sends a signal. It gives the theory itself an impression of authority. It makes it seem legitimate just by being investigated.
So the act of investigating validates the concern, even if the findings later refute it. That's a tricky situation.
It really is.
So wrapping this up, what does this whole situation mean for you listening? It really highlights this tension, doesn't it, between established science and these powerful narratives that spread so fast online.
And now those narratives are actually influencing public health policy decisions at a high level. It's quite something.
It really makes you think, what's the bigger danger in the long run? Is it the chemicals the theory talks about, which science says aren't there?
Or is it the erosion of trust itself? When we can't agree on basic facts or trust expert consensus, what does that do to our ability to tackle real problems? Something to definitely mull over.